Welcome to the Middleware Tech YouTube channel. In this series, you'll learn about Collection Framework. All code examples used in the videos will be available on GitHub. Let's get started.
If you remember collection framework, we already talked about some points. So let me say once again that this collection framework is used to collect a number of element or object. So we talked about the difference because we can use arrays to collect similar type of element. But array has some limitation, like array is a collection of element of fixed length. So due to that limitation, and array is a collection of element of homogeneous elements. So due to that limitations, we came in the collection framework classes. So already talked about like this collection framework is defined inside an util package. This collection framework, we talked about only one of the class called ArrayList class. How we can store object inside an ArrayList class. Whatever things I'm going to store inside a collection framework classes, that I'm going to store as an object. Now, if I want to store some object, as well as I can retrieve the details, so there is no fixed length. As much as you want, you can add object inside your collection framework classes till the JVM RAM support. So I can add multiple objects inside an array list, as well as I can retrieve the object from the array list. So this array list providing with some squeezing property. So these things we talked about last day, right? Already talked about these things. So let me talk about this collection framework. Using this complete collection framework, we can store different type of object. Okay, using this collection framework classes, we can store different type of object. We can store list type object. We can store set type object. We can store map type object. Now, these three types of object I can store using collection framework classes. So what is list type object? Let me give some idea from real life example. Assume we can define like shopping list. Shopping list. So I want to buy some item. So number one, I want to buy one mobile. Number two, I want to buy one shirt. Number three, I want to buy one mobile for my brother. Mobile. Number four, I want to buy one iPod. Fine. So when I'm creating a list, then I'm maintaining an order. Number one, this one I want to buy. Number two, this one I want to buy. Like this way, I'm maintaining an order. So collection, so list. So we can say that list is ordered. And when you're storing number one, this number two, number three, like this way. So the thing is that one mobile I want to buy for me. One mobile I want to buy for my brother. So same object I'm repeating, right? So that means the element or object that is available inside the shopping list that can be non-unique. Non-unique. Fine. That means it can have a duplicate value. So this is a list type example. Just to understand this, the list will always use to store ordered and non-unique type object. Let me give one examples of set. Set type example, some real life example of set, like set of mango. Set of mango. Now set of mango or basket of mango. You cannot say that number 1 is this mango, number 2 is this mango, number 3 is this mango, number 4 is this mango. We will not use like that, right? That means set of elements are unordered. Now if you go to the micro level, each and every mango size is different, shape will be different. If you go to the micro level, shape will be different, each and every mango. So from that point you can say that each and every object is unique. So set is used to store unordered and unique element inside my collection framework classes. Okay. Now talk about this map. Map is this is another one format. Map. Using map also we can store element. So what does it mean map? Let me take what is map type data. So map type data is like this. Like assume this is a team and player. So map is always defined as a combinations of key value pair. So assume I'm just saying the combination between two. Team 1 is connected with player 1. Then team 2 is going to map with player 2. Right? Team 3 mapped with player 1. So like this way, we can define the mapping between two set of element using map. Between two set of element where first set of element is called key and second set of element is called value. So map is always defined as collection of key value pair. Map is always defined as collections of key value pair. Where key will like a primary key, it's an unique. You will not find any duplicate into the source table, but whereas in the value side you can have a duplicate element. So map will always define as a key value pair. So if I want to store any object that is in key value pair connection combination, then we'll go with this map type. So you can say that map it is used to store key value pair. Fine. Okay. So in complete collection framework, we'll find this three type of object we have to store in complete collection framework. Now actually these three types of object, these three types actually an interface. In collection framework, we have top level interface. These are actually interface. There is an interface called list. There is an interface called set. Interface called map. Under these interfaces, we have some classes. Like under list interface, we have some class like array list. We have some class like vector. Okay. Under set interface, we have some classes. It's an interface actually in a collection framework. We have some classes like hash set and reset. I'm just written some of the class just to understand this set. Linked hash set. Linked hash set. And under map interface, we have some classes like hasmap, tree-map, and linked hasmap. Okay, so these are some of the classes I've just given here, right? So what we have to understand here is that all these classes are used to collect or store some object. So these classes is used to store list type object that is unordered and non-unique. These classes are actually used to store set type object that is unordered and unique. And this type of classes is used map type object that will come as a combinations of key value pair. Correct. Okay. Now what we have to know is that how to work with these classes. We have lots of other classes also. Okay. Now we have to know that how to work with those classes. So store, how to work with these classes, to store list type object, set type object, and map type object. So if you execute some program, right, that is the main requirement. How I can store list type object, set type object, and map type object. That is the main requirement. So let's move with one by one. And on the other side, we should know the hierarchy for each and every classes also. Why? Because if you find some of the there is one thing in collection framework. Already I told you that it's in the util package. Collection and collections. Two things is there. Collection is an interface. So last day already talked about what is interface and its properties. Whereas collections is a class. So they will provide some method, right? So what are the methods they are providing? How to work with them method? I'm coming into that. Now this last day talked about array list class and vector class. So let's talk about the list type classes first. Then I'm coming to set and map. So let's talk about this array list class first. Let's talk about this array list class first. Fine. Okay. So you see this array list class where it is defined in our API documentation. We go to the API documentation. Where is this array list class? Open this API documentation in frame view. Now here in the lang package, util package, java.util.star. Inside this util package, you will find array list. Array list. So this array list came from abstract list, from abstract collection. right? So the top level is abstract list, then it is abstract collection, right? So if you see this abstract collection, right? So let's see how we can work with this abstract list. What I'll do is that inside array list, I want to store a string type object, Okay, so how I'm going to store the C here, please. List ARR equal to new array list. So I've created an array list class, and I want to store some string type object. Add. So A. So like this way, I want to store a string type object. Now here, add some object. Right. So I'm just adding total 10 object. There is some reason behind that. I'll tell you after some time. I'm adding total 10 object here. 6 we have added. G H I J. So I have added total 12 object inside an array list. Okay, fine. So here I want to print the size of the list. System dot out println. I want to print the size of the list. ARR dot size. Fine. Okay, fine. Now here, after this, I want to print the size of the list. Control Z. System dot println error size. So after adding 12 object, I want to see what is the size of a particular array list, right? So this we have done last day also, today also. I'm doing the same thing. Let me check it's working or not. Okay. Now here, file, new class. Right click, new class, name of the class. Check a particular package and list demo. Right? Okay. Now inside this class, I'm going to add this copy So this array list we have to import from the util package. Fine, right click, run as Java application. It is just printing the size. Fine. Okay. Now what I want to do is that if you see it is printing some YOLO symbol. The reason is that we should use generics. Generics concept came from Java 1.5 version. Generics means type safety. Type safety means the array list class that I have created, what type of object I want to store inside an array list. In this example, I'm going to store only string type object. In this example, I want to store only string type object. So that one I should provide like this way, string. What type of object I want to store inside an array list, that I should mention inside an angle bracket after class name. Right. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to provide a type safety for my collection framework class object ARR, saying that it can take only string type object. Yes, it can take a string type object. See all the warning gone. After that, if you run, you can see it is working fine. And if I want to print all the object that is available inside an array list, we can write system.out.println ARR. Right click, run as Java application. So I can see all the object I have stored inside an array list that is visible, right? Okay. Now here, now I can see all the object. Now here the elements that I have added one by one. As you remember last day, I can delete also some object. I can remove some object using the object name or using the index position. So that we talked about last day. I'm not going into that. Now these objects that we have created, after adding, and I'm going to print this array list object. You can see that all the object is visible from the mirror. You cannot work with this object. All the object that is visible from the mirror, but you cannot work with the object. Now how I am going to retrieve the object from a list? So to retrieve this object from the list, we have to use one interface that is called iterator. We have to use iterator interface. So we have two interfaces using which you can retrieve the object from collection classes. One is called iterator, another is called enumerator. But enumerator we don't use now. Most of the scenario we always go for iterator. Enumeration option was also there for, now it becomes for the old version. But currently we always go with iterator. So if I am using this iterator it equal to ARR dot iterator like this. And I'm going to retrieve the object, right? So what we can write? While it dot next while it dot next, it is going to retrieve all the details, right? So it is it dot as next until return all the string object. And those string object you can take or you can print directly as you wish. System.out.println. It will print all the object. So let's see it is printing or not. You have to use Java or util. Now you can typecast also using generics. Save it. And you can make it iterator string. Should get all the string object. Yes, you can see you can get all the string object and you can work with them. Last time it was available inside an list only, that is means nothing but visible from the mirror. But how you can work with those objects, in that case you have to retrieve the object using iterator and you can work with them. So that you can do using array list. Right? Okay. Now, so we can see that how we can use array list to retrieve string type object, store as well as retrieve string type object. Same things we can do it using array list. I can store wrapper class type object and retrieve. I can store wrapper class object. How I can store wrapper class object? Just see here. This is my array list. I want to add a wrapper class object. Right. New wrapper class. Right. New integer. These are the wrapper class object. Assume it is 20, 30 like this way. I'll come into that after some time. Like this way, I can add some wrapper class object. 40. And using iterator, I can retrieve all the object from your array list, and it is going to return all the object and it is going to print. So now here, this is taking what type of object? Wrapper class object, integer type object, right? Then in this, you have to use integer. Right. So that means using generics, I've just made this object as type safety, and so that I can access or I can store only wrapper class object inside my array list object ARR. And I have stored wrapper class object as well as I am retrieving all the object using iterator. Right? It should work. There should not have any error. Control C. We can make it visible till here. There's no error, right? Right click, run as Java application. Yes, it is working fine. Right? So we can add some wrapper class object inside an array list, as well as I can retrieve the wrapper class object from array list also. Right? Similarly, you can add some user defined class object also. Similarly, we can define some user defined class object also. Add user defined class object. So how I can add user defined class object? So just see here. User defined class, which class you will take? Take an EMP class object, no issues. Create one user defined class EMP. Employee. This class object I want to store inside a array list, as well as I want to retrieve from the array list. So how I'm going to store? Let me tell you. So when you create a particular class, so that class should have some instance variable, private int emp id, fine. So these are the instance variable inside the class. If you have instance variable, we should have grasses also. So if you have a data setters, you can provide one constructor also. Generate constructor using field. Fine. Similarly, you can add one to a string implementation also. What is the to string? Generate to string. Okay. So this is a normal class, right? Employee class, and this employee class object I want to add inside an array list and retrieve the details using iterator. Okay, so same thing. Control C. You have to disable. Now here I want to store inside employee class object. So after adding, so add an employee class object, right? Not integer. New emp, and here you can provide emp id, emp name, emp email. Now these two are in string. I create an employee class object. Now when I'm adding new emp, employee id, employee name, and employee email, so is there a problem? So here, now here in your employee class, you have employee id, employee name, and employee salary, and you have this 3 argument constructor also, right? Both are string type, and id is an int type. So what I'm going to do inside my list class, the string type, id is an int type, and this employee object I want to store. So you have to change employee to you. So same employee object, Control C. I assume this is an employee 12. Assume add minimum 3 employee object. Pick it here at South 13. First 2. So I have added 3 employee object inside an array list. Now after this, I'm going to retrieve the details using iterator. So if I'm going to retrieve the details using iterator, what will happen? This iterator will get the values from the array list, and an iterator will have employee this method not required. Save it dot has next, it dot next. So this it dot next will return an object of employee. E equal to it dot next. Save it. Now to retrieve all the object, so just print that A. System dot out dot println. You can print that object. Now when I'm going to print this object, either you can print that object or you can print e dot get empid e dot get emp name slash get emp cell. By default get emp email. Fine, right? Save it. Right click, run as Java application. So we find that it's working fine. So inside your array list, we have added 3 different type of object: string object, wrapper class object, and user defined object, as well as we have retrieved them also. You can see how we can retrieve them. Like this way, as much as your JVM RAM support, it will add that much of object inside the array list. Right? Okay. So this is how we talked about how array list work. Now, if you want to in collection framework, okay. Now see here. We already told you that it's a group of object collection framework, and this collection framework provides a set of standard utility classes to manage collection. Collection framework consists of 3 parts: code interface, complete implementation, algorithms such as searching and sorting. So let's now the thing is the advantage of using collection. Already I told you last day that collection is a framework. So when you're using a particular framework or pattern, that is already created by someone, we should know how to use that framework or pattern, right? So they've given some of the advantages, like it reduce programming effort, because already are given, you to know how to work with them. So it will increase performance since already predefined things are there. Provide interoperability between related APIs, reduce the effort required to learn API, and reduce the effort required to design and implementation APIs. These are some of the advantages that is given to why I'm going to use collection framework. Now here we're talking about this array list. This is the array list we are talking, right? That comes under list. We're talking about this array list class that comes under list interface. We have some other related classes also, right? Under map we have some classes, under list we have some classes, under set we have some classes. Not only that, we have the concept of queue also, right? So this is that inheritance hierarchy just you're talking about, or you can see this inheritance hierarchy from API documentation also. Fine. Okay. So user defined class, if I say how to add user defined class object using array list, you can add this Control C and Control V. User defined class object, how I can add as well as retrieve, right? So this is how we can work with an array list class. Now the point is that when you're using this array list class, you can add multiple objects as well as you can retrieve multiple objects from your array list class. Right now we have another one class under list that is called vector. We have another one class under list that is called vector. Now we should know the difference between array list and vector, and in which scenario I should go for vector. Okay, or how we can differentiate array list and vector. In each scenario I should go for array list, and in which scenario I should go for vector, and some related details, right? Okay. So the see here, see the examples that we have done using array list. All this all these three examples we can do with the vector also. Okay, assume this this example I'm doing using array list, right? Same thing we can implement using vector also. Same thing we can implement using vector also. Same thing. Same thing. I'm talking about vector. Vector is another one array list class, a list type of class, right? So if I'm using vector here, vector ARR equal to new vector. Right now this vector we're adding here also, I should use generics, that is a string type object I am going to add inside this vector. Right, so this is the size, and then after that I'm going to retrieve all the element that is available inside the vector using the iterator. Now the point is that in which scenario I should go for this vector approach. What is the difference between vector and array list? I should not use in which scenario I should go for vector, and in which scenario I should go for array list, right? So the thing is that when you talk about this vector, it is also a class under list. It is a class in collection list. Now the thing is that the difference between array list and vector is that vector have a concept of capacity. Vector have now, what is this capacity concept? Let me tell you. Assume inside your class total 25 participants are there, but inside a class total number of chair is 40. Again I'm saying inside a class total 25 participants are there, but inside a class total number of chair is 40. Correct? So the total number of strength in the class 40, but total number of chair is total number of strength in the class is 25, but total number of chair is 40. So capacity is defined as a 40. How many chairs are there inside a classroom empty? So how many chairs is there inside a classroom? That is called capacity. So capacity is 40, but the length or available object inside your collection is 25. Right? So there is a concept of capacity in case of vector, and see here how this capacity work using vector. Here I'm creating a particular class called vector demo. When you create a class called vector demo, create a main method, public static void main. Fine. Okay. Inside this main method, I have just written this vector code, save it, right click, source format. Right, save it. Now here, this is your vector. You have added multiple objects. After that, using iterator, you are going to retrieve all the object that is available inside your vector. Fine. Now here, I just now told you that there is a concept of capacity. Now here, slash err dot capacity. Just see here. So first I'm just checking that capacity, and then after I, this line, first line is this line, right? Here I'm going to print the capacity. And let's see, execute once again, right click, run as Java application. If you execute and check, then what you find here is that initially that capacity, size and capacity, right? Just write here something, then you can see initial and now. Current. Save it. Yes, here initial size is 0, capacity is 10. initial size is 0, capacity is 10. So when you create a particular vector first time, it will create a vector with in capacity of 10. That means inside a class we have total 10 chair empty. So first time when you create a particular vector object, it will come with a default capacity of 10. That you can visible, right? Default capacity of 10. Now this default capacity is there when you're adding multiple object one by one. 10th object you have added, and you are printing size and capacity. Control C, and after K, once again I'm going to print size and capacity. That is not current. This it to be as now. File save. Execute it. Right click, run as Java application. Now see here, you have entered total 10 object till here, right? Now when I'm going to add the 11th object, till here the capacity was 10 only. When you've added the 11th object, then after that you'll find the capacity become 20. Just you added the 11th object, capacity become 20. So what happened? The thing is that in case of vector, capacity will increase by double. Okay, capacity will increase by double. That is the difference between array list and vector. That in case of array list, the memory will increase one by one. In case of array list, memory increase one by one. And in case of vector, you'll find number 2. In case of vector, increase in double. Double. Increase in double. Capacity increase in double after crossing the default capacity. After crossing the default capacity, you'll find that vector capacity will be double. How it is? In case of array list, it will be first 1, then 2, then 3, then 4, then 5, like this, right? But in case of vector, it is not like that. When you cross the default capacity of 10, okay, when you cross the default capacity of 10, first 10, default capacity of 10 you have crossed, the capacity will be 20. When you have crossed that capacity 20, came to 21, then capacity will be 40. When you're adding multiple object and you came to 41th, then capacity will be 80. 81th, capacity will be 160. So like this way, the capacity will increase for vector. Like this way, the capacity will increase for vector, but in case of array list, the memory will increase one by one, but in case of vector, it will increase by double. And you can see how it is increasing, right? Okay. Another one point is that array list is not synchronized. It is not synchronized. So we already talked about the concept of synchronization. Synchronization means, I'll talk about in the thread. Synchronization means at a time only one thread can access a particular resource. Synchronization means at a time only one thread can access a particular resource. So array list is not synchronized, whereas vector is synchronized. where it is synchronized. Array list is not synchronized or vector is synchronized. That means I'll talk about the synchronization in details when I come to the thread chapter. Synchronization means at a time only one thread can access a particular resource. That is the meaning of synchronization. So since vector is synchronized, so right. So that's why vector, if you're working on for thread application, so better to go with vector. But when you're dealing with huge amount of object, better to go with vector, because in case of vector, as the memory is increasing by double, it is much more faster than array list, right? So this is how we can differentiate between array list and vector. These are two classes we are talking about: array list class and vector class, and their difference, right? Now this comes under list. Array list class and vector class, that came under list, right? Now we have to talk about the set type of classes, right? Just see this hierarchy, how it is in the hierarchy. So we are talking about set type of class. The list type of class came from abstract list. Just now I've given this API documentation. It came from abstract list. Array list type of classes came from abstract list. Okay. So this is the hierarchy, right? So we talked about two classes. Now here we talked about two classes, array list and vector, and how it is the difference, and in which scenario I should go for array list and in which scenario I should go for vector, and their difference, right? So let's understand how we can work with set type of classes. What is the difference between different three types of set type of classes, right? So in case of list type of classes, when you add any object inside an array list or vector, internally one index will be maintained. That's why we say it's an ordered array type index maintained internally. And non-unique means you can add some duplicate object also inside the array list, right? So now we talk about the set type classes. Now we'll talk about set type classes. Okay. Okay. Now we'll talk about set type classes. I'm just giving the idea because we have lots of things here. Okay. Let me just give me 1 minute. Okay. Now when you talk about the set type of classes, so if you see that inheritance hierarchy for the set, take it about hash set. Just check that inheritance hierarchy for hash set on the left side. Hash set. So this setup class came from the abstract set. top level, this is an abstract set. Top level class is an abstract set. So this is the top level interface. So under set, we have these classes, has set, reset, and linked set. So already I told you that I should go for this type of classes under set when I have to deal with the object that are unordered and unique type. Fine. So what is the purpose? In which scenario I should go for what type of classes? That we have to understand. What we are going to do, I want to collect multiple objects. That is the collection framework. I want to collect multiple objects. Yes, those objects are ordered and non-unique, then you have to use list type of classes. I told you the difference. Right. If the objects are unordered and unique, then I should go for this set type of classes. Okay. So let's see what the difference between these three types of class: has set, reset, and linked has set. Okay. Now I'm talking about under set. We have these three classes called hash set, reset, linked hash set. Right. So just I'll write one program, and using that program we try to understand the difference between all these three classes. So what we'll do is that we'll add some object inside hash set. Do from your side also hash set sh equal to new. It's a class, right? Hash set. Fine. You can create an object of hash set like this, but if you're working on collection framework, recommended that you should not use like this. Why? We should always use the concept of runtime polymorphism. When you're working in object-oriented programming approach, you have to think about the scenario of runtime polymorphism. Based on that, you should write. So that means the left side, you have to take the stop interface. Set sh equal to new hash set. Hash set is a class. Okay, so we should follow this approach. Same like earlier also. Here also, we have created the classes, right? We should not create a vector, new vector. We should always use the left side list ARR equal new vector. Same like for array list also. The left side list ARR equal to new array list. We should follow that approach of runtime polymorphism. List ARR equal to new array list. This approach you should follow. Okay. Now under set, now I've created a hash set object, and here I'm going to add total 5 object. Okay. I'm going to add total 5 object. Sh dot add. First object is B. Sh dot add. Second object is C. Add. Third object is A. Sh dot add. Fourth object is D. Fifth object is E. So we have added total 5 objects inside hash set. And after that, I'm going to just print them. Just print all the 5 objects. System dot out println. Just print sh. Okay. Same the second scenario. This object you have to put in the same sequence. You can take reset and just print them. Then you have to take linked asset and you have to print them. Let's see how it is. Control C. File, new class, and the class name is set demo. And you can do this printing here itself. Save it like this, right? Now you have to import all the classes and interface. Working, right? Just save this. Any error? Okay, now the point is you're already using sh here. Use some other name, or you can disable this line of code. Let me complete the first part. No error, right? Okay, now here you should use generics. I'm using a string type object. Save it. Now here I've added to all 5 object, and then I'm printing sh. Fine. So let me check what the sequence. We have to see we have to understand the difference between all these 3 classes. This is the sequence for the first one. Output I'm talking about. And for tree set, let's check what's the output for tree set. Save it. Here also you have to apply generics. Fine. Okay, now let me check what should be the output in case of tree set. Right click, run as Java application. Just see this output. I'm just copying this output. Control C. This output came for tree set. And for linked asset. Linked asset. Here also I have to provide a string. S is a capital letter. Okay. Just see the sequence. right? Now from the sequence, you have to understand the difference between these three type of classes. See, set will always interact with a particular object that are unordered and unique. In these examples, we have used three set classes: hash set, tree set, and linked hash set. Now, if you see, in case of hash set, the object came in sorted order. Tree set object came in sorted order. Linked hash set, those object came based on insertion order. So this now in this system, this object came in sorted order, but in case of hash set, no one knows in which format those output will come, because hash set implicitly or internally was an hashing algorithm, and based on that, it will give the output of object. So this hashing a hash set mainly used when I want some storage and retrieval performance. In case of your object storage and retrieval performance, in that scenario, you should go with this hash set approach. But tree set is used when I want those objects be printed in a sorted order. Then I should go for this tree set. Whereas linked hash set will move if I want this object in insertion order. Then I'll go with the linked hash set. Okay. So these are the three scenario when they are the difference when I should go for hash set, when I should go for tree set, and linked hash set. Right. So let's see here something else. Now you can see this is a list. This is a set of elements, and this is a map that has the value as a key value pair. Okay. Now hash set, tree set, just now I'm talking about. So just now you're talking about that list. So when you go with this list, these are some of the features about the list. List interface that extends collection interface. It stores elements in sequential order. Elements in the list can be accessed or inserted based on their position. Start with a 0 index. Now for array list class implement list interface, it supports dynamic array that you can grow dynamically, right? These are some of the features they've given for list. So I've given already one example of list, how to work with iterator and for each loop, or retrieve the details using enhanced for loop or for each loop. So this already talked about. Now I'm talking about this set type classes. So already I told you that the set class extends collection interface, and it's an unordered collection. Set up mango, you'll not get any order, right? It does not allow any duplicate. That means all the elements are unique. Right? So it using it here also, using iterator, you can retrieve the object. Now the thing is that I just now told you the difference between three classes: hash set, tree set, linked hash set. So in case of tree set, if you want those objects, it should come in sorted order, then go for this tree set. Okay, and if you okay, now this is another one, comparable interface. I'm coming into that. So there is one concept of comparable interface. What is that? Now see here, please. In collection framework, you'll find this interface. It's used a lot. Remember, comparable and comparator interface. See, already I told you, right, that functional interface. What is that functional interface? That have a single abstract method. So this comparable and comparator, these two interface also contain single abstract method. One of the methods of comparable is compared to, contain a particular method. Name of the method is compared to. It contains one method, that is the name of the method is compare. Okay, fine. It has some input and return type. You can check that API specification. Now we have to know what is the difference between these two types of interface. We use this a lot in collection framework. Comparable interface and comparator interface. Why we need them in collection framework? The reason is that if I want to sort object based on attribute, based on a single attribute, then I go for comparable. Comparable, let me tell you here. If I want to sort object, compare control X, comparator, these two that have a particular method called compare. Okay, so in which scenario I should go for them? Comparable is used if we want to sort object. If you want to sort object inside collection based on single attribute. And comparator is used if I want to sort object inside collection based on multiple attribute. We want to sort object inside collection based on multiple attribute. What does it mean? Not clear. You see, this comparable comparator is a very important interface in collection framework. So let's understand. We'll do only one example, that is comparable interface. Let's understand this. I'm not writing, I'm writing a lot. So let's do some copy paste from slide. So assume I have one student class that implement comparable. So I have one student class that implements comparable interface, and this class have some instance variable. This class has a particular constructor, initialize the instance variables. And so I have one student class. That student class have a roll number, name, marks, 3 instance variable. It have one constructor also. Okay, so just see. And just now I told you that comparable interface has some inbuilt method compared to. What I'm doing is that I'm overriding that method from that interface. So this compare to methods, I'm just overriding from comparable interface and writing some logic, my own code. Okay, let me write it. Now see here, what we have written is I've overridden this compare to method. This compare to method is a part of comparable interface. You want to see? Go to the API documentation and java.lang. Comparable interface. Inside comparable, you can see here the method that is declared, that is called compare to. So we are using that method only compare to, and that method I have just overridden. I'm just copy pasted some code. If you write, it is taking a long time. Right, so this is your compare to method. I've overridden this compare to method and writing some logic. Now see here what we are doing here. What we are doing is that we are going to compare the marks. This compare to method is going to compare between two objects. If the first object is greater than the second object, return positive value. If the first object is less than the second object, return negative value. The first object and second object is equal to return 0. This is how this compare to work. Now here we have overridden this compare to method from this comparable interface to my class just to compare the student object attribute based on marks. Just now I told you, right, inside a collection framework class, I want to sort multiple object based on some attribute. So that's why I have created this class object comparable and overridden compare to method with my own code. Now here, anything else? It's done, right? Okay. Now what you have to do, you have to create another one class. And I'm just Control C. I'm just creating it. This class is done, student class. It's one type of Pojo type class. And this is main method. Main method I have created an object of tree set. So inside this tree set, I have added one student, Ajay, with ID 1. Second student, we have added Avi with ID 96. Third student with ID 45. Marks. Done, right? So what I'm going to do, I want to sort. Now see these three objects what I have added inside tree set. These three objects where you have added inside a tree set. Now what is our requirement? We want this object will be, I want, now see actual production environment will find 500 to 600 object. But here we are talking about only one or two or three objects that we have added inside a trace set, right? So what I want to sort all these three object, student object, based on the marks. Based on the marks, I want to sort. Okay, all these three object. So let's do it. Let's see it's working or not. Create a student class object. Control C. Here, just copy this and create one class. Fine. Comparable demo. Okay. Right click new class. The class name is comparable demo. And just paste it. And it came, right? No issues. So right click, run as. Now we have not. This is a student class, and now the point is that it's a student class, right? So better to make it as a Pojo. Right click, new class, student. Control X. This is my student class. Now in the main class, we have to create an object of tree set. Better you can already created here. Correct? String, string. But this is not a string type. We are adding an student type object, right? Student. Here also I'm adding student type object. Main method, right? And class name is test. So just right click or make it a comparable demo. Right click, run as Java application. So it should work. Now we have added all the object inside tree set, but we have not retrieved the object, right? So we should, I should get using iterator. I'm not writing, so I should get all the object using iterator. So this iterator contain student type object. Save it. You can import this. This is your while loop. I'm printing this roll number. and name. Age. Save it. Now while it dot has next, I'm going to go in with this and retrieving the details. Fine. And here student something wrong. st dot marks, not age. Fine, save it. So right click, run a Java application. So now see here. Now see, I have added to 3 object with marks 66, 96, 45. And I need all the objects should come in sorted order based on marks. I need all the objects should come in sorted order based on marks. So you can see here all the objects came in sorted order based on marks. Right? Okay. Now the thing is that based on only one attribute I got the subject in sorted order. No, I want to get those object sorted order not based on marks but based on age or roll number. That also you can do. In that case, in the compare to method, you have to provide the comparison for roll number, not marks. Okay, so you have to change this compare to method that is a part of your student class, right? So that what you find is that you can use compare to method to sort multiple object inside your collection. We're talking about this, right? Comparable, that contain compare to method. It is used if you want to sort object inside a collection based on a single attribute. So based on only one attribute, you can sort the object inside a collection. Okay, at a time only one attribute. Either employee ID or employee name or employee roll number. Now the thing is that I want this is all about comparable. This is all about comparable in collection framework. But it is also the scenario like I want to sort multiple object inside a collection based on multiple attribute, right? Then the scenario comes for comparator interface. Remember that comparator interface in collection framework. So how I can sort based on multiple attribute, you can check on the API documentation how I can show multiple example, right? So this is the difference between comparable and comparator in collection framework, right? Okay. So next we'll talk about here I've added comparator. I've just added this because it's used a lot. Next we talk about this how to work with the map type classes. So I can store map type object and retrieve the object using map. Okay. So has map, pre-map, linked has map. So here let's try to focus on the next part. Has map, pre-map, and linked has map. Has map, pre-map, and linked as map. Let's talk about it now. This. So in this three map type classes, what you find is as you find for three set type classes, has set, reset, linked has set. Like set, we don't know what should be the output will come from has set. It will be based on some hash algorithm, right? So mainly hash set is used to obtain storage and retrieval performance. Same like for hash map also. We don't know in which sequence you will get the output. Okay, it will store the value as a key value pair for map type, but main purpose is it will use some hashing algorithm based on storage and retrieval performance. See, one type of scenario, like I have to get 1,000 object from a particular Oracle database and send it as an to a particular XML file or JSON file. Okay, I have to get 1,000 object or 1,000 row from an Oracle database and send it as an XML file or JSON file. So how I'll do that conversion, So what you have to do is that you have to get that object from database and I have to put it inside a collection and send it as an XML file or JSON file. But if I don't want the order of this object, if order is not important for us, okay, if important is that I need faster storage and faster retrieval, if that is the requirement, then I should go for hash set or hash map. Faster storage and retrieval. If this is the important, then we should go for this hash map. Now in case of tree map, we already talked about tree set. Tree set, we get the object in sorted order. Same like tree map also. If I need the object in sorted order, I'll go for this tree map. So we will get those object in sorted order. Object in sorted. But and linked hash map will give the order object a object in based on insertion order, as we have done in case of linked has set. Based on, you get the object in insertion order. Here also we'll get the object based on insertion order. Fine. So it is this has set, reset, linked has set, has map, remap, linked has map from functionality point of view is same. But in case of map, how I'm going to store the object and retrieve the object, it is slightly different. Because in case of map, we have to use a put method. Okay, a map mp equal to new has map here. I'm not going to use a add method. In case of map, we have to use put method. So you can use mp dot put. Okay, and you have to use some key value pair. So you can take key as an employee ID and value as an employee salary. That also you can use, or key as an employee name and value as an employee salary, that you can use, right? So assume the key as employee name or employee ID. So assume employee ID is 1 2 3 4. Fine. And employee name salary is new integer, this, something like that. So it contains key value pair inside this map. Control C, Control V. Right. So we have added 5, 6, 7, 8. Assume it is an employee ID, and for each employee ID there is a particular salary. 5, 6, something like that. So inside a map object, I can store the value using put as a key value pair. This one is the key, this is the value. Value can repeat it, but the key will be an unique. Okay. Now, when you have stored things like this, then you can now I've added this object inside a map, right, as a key value pair. Now, how I'm going to retrieve that object? So, see, it is slightly different from the list and set approach. What I'm going to do in case of list and set approach, I have to get it inside an iterator directly. But in case of map, it is not like that. First, I have to put inside a set. First, I have to put inside set s equal to mp dot entry set. Let me much writing, it takes some time. Do some copy paste here also. I'm talking about map. Do some copy paste. As I told you that I'm going to get those object when I'm going to retrieve the object. First I have to put inside set, and from the set I have to put inside iterator, and from iterator how to retrieve the object. I'm going to display all the elements. I'm using while it dot has next, while it dot has next. Now here that's it. It is not required for the timing in map. So if you see here how I'm going to retrieve the details. So in case of map, when I'm going to retrieve the details, first I have to put inside set. Remember this approach, I'm going to retrieve. In case of, if I have stored multiple objects inside a list and retrieving, directly I can use iterator. If I'm going to store some object inside set, I'm retrieving, directly I can use iterator. But in case of map implementation, you cannot use directly iterator. First, I have to take all this map object inside a set reference, right? And from the set reference using iterator, I have to get inside iterator, and from the using iterator, I have to retrieve the details while it dot has next. Now, when I'm going to get the details, now see here, map contain the value as a key value pair. Correct. That's why there is an interface called map.entry. Map.entry reference, I'm going to point for each map object, because map.entry is one type of mapping with key value pair. So I have to create a reference of map.entry, and from that object I can get the key as well as the value. Okay, so this is the scenario, in case of map, how I can retrieve the object. Okay, so just execute and check how it is working. Create a separate class called map demo. Right click new class and name this class as map demo. And okay, I have to use inside a main method. Fine, so save it, and you have to import this and this is a wrapper class object. Now I'm using integer but writing double, right? So make it double, no issues. Done, right? Now we should use save it. Have to use one semicolon here. I have to import this set iterator. And warning is there, but it should still now cannot work. Let me check. Right click, run as Java application. Just see here, it is working fine. It is working fine, right? So we have created a map object. We have added the object using put method as a key value pair. Then I want to retrieve the object using iterator, but I cannot directly take it inside iterator. First, I have to take inside a set reference using set s equal to mp.entry set. This is a process how I can retrieve the object. You should have to remember by practice itself. And from the iterator, I'm going to retrieve the object. First, I have to create an object of map.entry interface reference, and using from that reference, I have to use get key and get value. So these are the inbuilt method get key and get value I have to call. Then we can get complete output. This is how we can retrieve the details from a map, right? Okay. Okay, right? So that we are talking about here. One examples we talk about using map. Right? One examples we talked about using map. One example talked about set. One example using list. Now, when you go with actual diagram, you'll find lots of other classes is also there. So if you get those class details from the API documentation, so, so here you're talking about map, like has map, tree map. Now has map, tree map, linked has map, except that we have some other map file also, like has table is there, properties class is there. So like this way, we'll find lots of other classes in collection framework, and you have to see which class I'm going to use in what scenario. You have to identify the difference or different classes. So this is all about map. Just now we talked about has map, how it work. Just now we talked about it. Has table, this is another one. Has table. So using has table, as you find, it is defined in the util package. It implements map interface and extend dictionary class. It can contain only unique element. So that key cannot have a null value. It is a synchronized class. Some properties they've given. So the thing is that has map you're using, it is not synchronized. So that's why you should not go for thread application using has map, since has table is a synchronized. So if it's a thread application, better you should go for has table, because already we know what is the property of synchronization, right? At a time only one thread can access a particular resource, right? Okay. Now how to work with hash table, they have given tree map. Just now I told you, if I want to get all the key value parents sorted order, I'll go for key tree map. Now there is another one class called properties class is there. Now properties class mainly used if you are going to interact with some file. Okay, if I'm going to interact with some file, in that scenario we generally go with this properties class that extend hash table. Okay. So like this way you'll find lots of I'm not executing this, lots of collection framework classes in our, if you see this API documentation, you'll find lots of collection framework classes, and all the classes so we'll go into the java.util package. Where is that util package? Java.util. Yes, inside this java.util package you'll find lots of collection framework classes. You're talking list. So under list you have lots of classes. See here. Similarly, you have map. Under map you have lots of classes, right? Similarly, set. The set interface, set. Under set you have lots of classes, right? So we have to know about from the, we have to go with API documentation. You have to see which class is used for what scenario, what are the different methods available, how we can use it. Like so, like this way, complete collection framework. We use it in Java, that you can say here. Fine. Okay, anyone want to add on this? So this is all about collection framework.